Cliché is an idea, form of expression, or element that has become overused to the point where it has lost all meaning. It has become irritating, or amusing, depending on your point of view, especially when, at its original conception, it was either novel or meaningful. Every genre has its clichés, every medium has them, and every form of art and expression has them. They are everywhere. The horror genre is no exception, and as an avid consumer of horror in its many forms, I've become accustomed to certain clichés. I even expect them. So during this mini-series, I want to explore some of my top, in inverted commas, clichés. However, I don't want this to just be a rant, as while I feel that clichés are generally caused by creator laziness or carelessness, certain clichés can still work when they're done well. They can even be great if they're twisted into an original-ish form. Clichés can also have their uses, such as when a creator is trying to establish a side character. They work well as a quick and easy way to establish said non-critical character without having to spend ages dwelling on them, yet still giving your audience a good idea of what they can expect. I feel like I've rambled long enough, so without further ado, let's jump in. Female, defined by bodily functions. When writing a female character, or any character, it's important to give them depth. To give your character depth, you need to know a little something about their experiences and how the world reacts to them. The types of things they go through, things that happen to them that might not happen to somebody of a different gender, age, race, or sexuality. For example, a black character will experience the world differently to a white character, a straight character differently to a gay character, and a male character differently to a female character. Something that I have picked up on when reading female characters is that where bodily functions are concerned, things can either go one of two ways. One way is that they're ignored completely. This I can almost understand, as after all we don't write about every single bodily function of male characters. For instance, rarely do bathroom habits come into stories as much as they do in real life. But the other way is that they become the sole focus of the character. She is literally broken down into nothing more than a bodily function. It's all she talks about. It's the justification for everything she says or does. And this can be pregnancy, it can be menstrual cycle related, it can be a health issue. The list is endless. And bonus points if your female character turns into a rage monster only controlled by chocolate when on her period. Or if it's really obvious that the writer had no freaking clue about how female anatomy works. Male, the super secret badass. Usually, this type of character will be a perfectly normal, nice chap on the surface. The guy next door type of character. He's happy with his idyllic life, usually with his family, and doesn't seek anything else. Everyone thinks he's just boring old Bob from number 22. But then something, or usually someone, will screw up his perfect life, spurring him into action. This might be a friend in desperate need of help, or it might be an old enemy that nobody's ever heard of before. Either way, Bob is suddenly taken out of his perfect little life, and it turns out that Bob is a badass. Maybe he's a retired best super secret assassin. Perhaps he was in MI5 or some super secret spy service that nobody knows about. Or perhaps he really was just a nice normal chap who is, to everyone's surprise, even his own, a badass. Either way, Bob will now proceed to kick ass and take names. He'll be calm, he'll be tough and amazing at all weapons. Bonus points if he can suddenly fly a plane or a helicopter. Female, the most gorgeous person ever. This cliché can apply to males or females, though I do tend to come across it more with female characters, and that is where beauty or handsomeness is the sole character trait. Being pretty is literally this person's personality. When other characters respond to them, they will do so in over-the-top ways because they are so mind-shatteringly gorgeous. They will get away with things that nobody would ever really get away with. They are showered with gifts for simply existing. People almost bask in their glow. I am aware that humans as a species do judge on appearances and that we do react differently to those we find beautiful than those we don't. However, this cliché takes that to extremes. Bonus points if the beauty or handsomeness has made the character vapid or arrogant, like pretty people can't possibly also be nice, because beauty affects morality somehow. I am perfectly fine with a character who is attractive, but not at the cost of depth. Attractiveness is not a character trait, it's not a personality trait. Give this character more to work with than they be pretty. Male, the grump. In this cliché, the male character will take being stoic to a whole new level. He'll have no emotional spectrum at all. He will be straight-faced and serious all the time. No matter how the other characters behave or treat him, cold indifference is his way. Yet somehow everybody loves him or respects this emotionally constipated asshole. He'll spend the majority of the story brooding about something or other, but never speak about it. Sometimes he'll have a cute sidekick to balance out all the dark and brooding, and the cute sidekick will also do all of the talking on their behalf. Bonus points if the grump has a kid to look after. Super bonus points if the kid successfully brings them out of their shell and encourages emotional growth in the grump. I do feel the need to repeat what I said earlier though, regarding that sometimes cliches can work when done well. God of War was a rare great example of this cliche, where the typical grump character develops emotionally due to the influence of a child. Logan is another example of it being done quite well. And I also kind of want to include The Last of Us in here, though Joel doesn't really feel like a grump to me. What I'm referring to when I say this cliche drives me mad is the type of character where this is their only personality trait, and somebody else has to do all of the work to quote-unquote fix them. In the good examples listed above, the grump characters are more nuanced and developed. I get very bored with this cliche, as it reinforces the concept that boys shouldn't have feelings, or at least they shouldn't express their feelings. Only girls can have feelings and are therefore solely responsible for the emotional well-being of family and male friends. Female, the Ice Queen. This character is defined by her relationship to the characters around her, usually the chaps, I'm afraid. And it's so dull. She's cold or mean to men, and sometimes other women. She's a challenge. There's no depth, there's no characterization, there's no nothing. She is a mean plank of wood, at least until someone breaks through her cold exterior and suddenly, look, she was a real girl all along. She's usually much happier after some entrepreneurial chap breaks down her walls and forces himself into her life through sheer force of will, despite her many rejections. Though this happiness injection rarely produces any additional depth for the Ice Queen character. It puts me in mind of the Family Guy cutaway where the busy businesswoman is approached by a handsome chap who bravely announces that he is going to show her how all of her problems can be solved by his penis. The reason this cliche annoys me so much though is that the only thing worth knowing about her is how she behaves towards the people around her. Nothing else is worth knowing. She's not really a character, she's a prop. And it's so lazy. Male, the tank. This cliché's main attribute will be his body. He'll be strong, and that's pretty much it. A lot of description will go into the size of his muscles or the feats of strength he performs. All of his problems will require physical force to overcome. Handy that. Think Conan the Barbarian as a good example. Big strong guy is big and strong. The end. The tank can usually go one of two ways. Either they are big, strong and angry, or big, strong and wouldn't hurt a fly. Big, strong and angry usually tend not to speak a great deal, they're too busy being angry. But the big, strong pacifist is usually played for laughs. Bonus points if the character doesn't realise their own strength, because, yeah, people get abnormally huge and strong completely by accident. Thank you for listening. Be sure to leave a comment to join the conversation. Like and subscribe for more, and visit